We're back with a look at a structure more than a half-century old located nearly 40 miles off the Brunswick County coast. Frying Pan Tower has a long history of guiding mariners, helping them navigate treacherous waters. WWAY Sydney Bushell recently took a trip there to learn more about the history of this unique structure.
Voyage to Frying Pan, brought to you by Rigged and Ready Fishing Charters and Fishing Center.
So Richard, I guess first just tell me, where are we right now?
Well, literally we're up above the ocean, approximately 85 or 90 feet, and we are offshore of North Carolina, almost down to South Carolina, I guess kind of southwest of the Wilmington area, and just slightly outside of America by half a dozen miles.
Frying Pan Tower, originally built as a Coast Guard light tower to help mariners navigate the shallow waters of Frying Pan Shoals.
The tower itself came after literally about a century of boats being out here with lights on them, bobbing around, doing the same thing, keeping the ships from going aground and, you know, all the shipwrecks and things. They finally realized that they could utilize some of the design of Texas oil field platforms and just put a light on the corner and stick a bunch of young guys on here to keep the light on, literally.
A full staff of Coast Guardsmen lived on the tower from 1964 to 1979, until the tower became automated. GPS and radar systems rendered the tower obsolete, and the Coast Guard officially abandoned the tower in 2004.
Much of the tower remains the same, just as it was 60 years ago, like this. A hoist just like this one was used by the members of the Coast Guard to get on and off the tower.
Frying Pan Shoals is a protected reef area, so the government decided against destroying or relocating the tower. They put it up for auction in 2010. Enter Richard Neal.
I realized after a few years that I basically bought my childhood tree house, and it's just a big version, and not wood but steel, and a slightly different goal. Rather than hanging out and looking at the stars, we do that, but it's take care of the mariners, show kids in schools what the sharks do underneath us, and just let the people know what it's like to be out in the ocean where calm like this is just as common as 80-mile-an-hour winds 2 days from now.
On a mission to restore, protect, and preserve, Neal has set his sights on making sure the tower is around for generations, for research to keep mariners safe, and a place to come to adjust your outlook.
We have occasion to participate in a rescue, divers that have nearly drowned, boats that have caught on fire, people that have had medical emergencies, and then we've had the opposite. We've had weddings on the helipad, and they've gone on, and you just, it's just an amazing thing.
Reporting from the hoist, heading up to the Frying Pan Tower, Sydney Bushell, WWAY News. I think I'm good.
Fascinating. The tower is now operated and owned by the nonprofit FP Tower. The nonprofit's focus is restoring, protecting, and preserving the tower. WWAY's Hannah Patrick will have information efforts to preserve Frying Pan Tower tomorrow night on WWAY News at 6. Yesterday, we told you about the history of Frying Pan Tower off the Brunswick County coast and why it was built more than 50 years ago. The tower is filled with relics of the past, lots of rusting parts, and even some missing pieces. As WWAY's Hannah Patrick explains, one man is on a mission with a small army of volunteers working to fix that.
Voyage to Frying Pan, brought to you by Rigged and Ready Fishing Charters and Fishing Center.
What do you do today? I just hung out.
For more than a decade, Richard Neal has been protecting,
Coming up.
preserving,
Let's go in the store.
and restoring Frying Pan Tower.
I have a difficult time focusing on any one particular task, so thank God there's 50 different projects ongoing out here at once.
At any given moment, you may see Neal hanging or climbing to fix or adjust just about anything.
Everything from repairing the railing to trying to get the subsea structure or the supports underneath us or patching a tank so it holds the water to painting one of the rooms.
How would you describe Richard?
Richard is uniquely adaptive to anything that is thrown at them.
What do Neil and the tower have to adapt to the most? Salt. The tower is safe, but there are parts of it that are roped off. There are pieces that are coming off. Thanks. And there are areas that are rusting away.
What are some of the major things that need to be done?
If you come up to the tower at the water level, you're going to see, hey, those pipes that are right about 12 feet, one of them's missing, and that is true. It's an area that's rotting away.
While Neil knows what needs to be done and how to do it, he doesn't expect anyone who wants to volunteer to.
People will contact me, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to weld. I'm like, you don't understand. I want this, your head and your heart.
He just needs you to show up. Woo! And people do, from all over. This is awesome.
I just remember a young British lady. She came over here, she left her family and her new baby, said, I just feel drawn to the tower. And by the time she left,
She was welding, and we were actually using it up here, moving things around.
and she's like, I'm part of that tower. And that's so important to me.
There are hundreds of people who are now part of the tower, including Captain Scott Tinney. He drove us here by boat, a drive he's been making since 2016.
My brother found it and wanted to bring a load out and knew I had a boat, so we did it, and it's gone from there.
Because restoring doesn't just happen on the tower.
I seem to be more of the fuel guy for some reason. You know, yesterday we carried batteries out. We've carried the refrigerator, the grill, generators back and forth. There's always a need to have stuff out here, of course, and the only way to get it here is in a boat.
And whether you're a long-time or a first-time volunteer, it's easy to see that Neil is the head and the heart of the tower, keeping its mission alive.
I really don't think anybody could have pulled it off quite the way he has. He loves it, you know. It's just, it's what he wants to do.
Come on, boys.
And being a part of that mission will make you feel alive.
Who's ready?
On Frying Pan Tower, Hannah Patrick, WWAY News.
What would you do if you found yourself in distress more than 30 miles off the coast of North Carolina? As part of the Voyage to Frying Pan Tower, WWAY's Sydney Bouchel heard how Richard Neal and the volunteers working there make the water surrounding Frying Pan shoals safer.
Voyage to Frying Pan, brought to you by Rigged and Ready Fishing Charters and Fishing Center.
We're going to throw this in and see what happens. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's ready. Wow!
If you were to fall off the tower right now, I dare say I could throw it over there and have you back on the chair and back up in here in less than 5 minutes.
I won't test that.
Yeah, thank you. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Slinking, and go.
It's kind of like a scooter, but it's much more than a nautical toy.
You know, part of having people out here is when they're in distress, we really need to get to them and help them quickly.
It's called the U-Safe. It's a remote-controlled, self-propelled life buoy. It's Richard Neal's latest tool in working to keep the water surrounding Frying Pan Tower safer.
We just fling it off the tower and with a joystick, drive it right over to the person where they grab hold of it.
Go.
They don't have to do anything but just hang on, and we can control bringing them right back to safety here or another boat.
That is so amazing.
While the tower may be a cool spot to spend the night in the middle of the ocean, Neal makes sure it's used as a tool to keep mariners safe.
The number one thing that you have to be able to do is get help to them or a way to relax and rest in less than 60 seconds or less than 3 minutes, because they fatigue very quickly, they're very upset, they maybe didn't have on a life jacket.
This place clearly saves lives.
Neal has tested out several ways to help boaters and divers in distress, from a dinghy to a jet ski.
How much? That thing is incredible, man.
Aaron Stasiak is the qualified captain, a social media influencer focused on promoting boat safety and a deep love of the water. He says the work Neal is doing stretches beyond the waters just 70 feet below the tower.
Once or twice a year, he's saved somebody's life out here, whether it's a diver or a missing boat. Most important thing is, too, if there is something happened offshore, he can relay those radio transmissions back to the U.S. Coast Guard quicker than anybody else.
What we get to do in our limited way is we work with the Coast Guard guys Right now, we're working with how to extend the range of their emergency radio beacon. So if someone 30 miles that way goes, "Help me," they can't hear it. We can.
And according to Neil, the Coast Guard enjoyed helping him try out his new rescue tool.
First thing they did was they took 2 of their guys and they jumped in the water and said, "Rescue me."
The tower. It's an important piece of maritime history, but it's not just a nautical fixture.
But it is truly is like a huge benefit in the community for like a safety aspect. And I want people to realize, like, hey, Richard's not just out here hanging out. Those guys are working every single day. You know, we're working hard to restore this place, and every contribution helps.
We just think that the more we can participate in making it a safer world, really the easier it is to come out here and have fun, catch fish, go scuba diving, and just explore the wonders out here.
Bye, Richard. Thank you. On Frying Pan Tower, Sydney Bouchel, WWAY News.
Wow, simply fascinating. If you're interested in exploring the wonders of Frying Pan Tower, WWAY's Hannah Patrick will have information on what it's like to stay there and how you could win a chance to do so. That's tomorrow on WWAY News at 6 p.m. for the final installment of Voyage to Frying Pan Tower.
Okay, I'm a little bit more nervous about this. It may not look like your typical hotel.
It is just a 1-star hotel, but there's a million stars above.
There are a million reasons to stay at Frying Pan Tower 32 miles off the coast. But first, you have to get there by helicopter or boat. Sydney Bouchel and I took the 1.5-hour boat ride.
Hello!
But now we have to get up there.
I don't know if I can video, Hannah.
Yeah, I got you. This is also not your typical hotel elevator. How you doing?
Great! This is awesome.
Did I mention my fear of heights? But at least the view is unbelievable. Ooh! What was I saying about those views? This is terrifying.
Get up here. You don't do anything. Bring you inside, okay?
Okay.
Bring her inside, please.
That is Richard Neal, the man behind the mission and the nonprofit to protect, preserve, and restore the tower.
I'm the employee number 1 and only.
But you could also call him the hotel manager, the handyman, the tour guide, and even the interior designer.
The tower originally was designed for a bunch of single guys.
Neil wanted to make it a little more family-friendly, while also keeping some of its original charm.
Many people are like, "Yeah, just take all the walls out, they're terrible," and throw them away. And I thought, wait a minute. The structure and the way this is laid out was intentionally a set of rooms for people who participated in it.
As we started looking around, and I tried to recover from the hoist,
we haven't had the safety briefing yet, so Hannah is taking things into her own hands.
It feels a lot like walking into the past, but then we noticed something a little more modern.
Computer, turn off the hallway.
In every hallway, bedroom,
Hey, computer, play Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift from Richard's On Hot Radio.
and even the bathroom.
By adhering to the original Coast Guard kind of look and feel, we show respect to that. But by also making it so you can walk down the hallway and say, "Computer, turn on the lights and play some Frank Sinatra," and it does. I love that. It's so much fun.
The tower also has 8 bedrooms.
We have 4 queen bedrooms with lovely Casper mattresses. We have 3 twin bedrooms, and we have a crew room. We can have 5 people in there.
Sydney and I stayed in the Kuritak room because it has 2 desks. But every room also has a TV, Wi-Fi, and electric blankets. And then when you get hungry,
It does have 1 large stainless steel kitchen and a pantry. If you're hungry, walk in there and make some food.
now you must be wondering, can anyone just book a night here?
Short answer is yes.
But you need the long answer.
If you just wanted to come out here for 1 night, I would tell you that'd be like going to visit one of the national parks for 5 hours. It's not the best use of your time.
Neil says the best thing to do is volunteer.
Or what we call ecotourist, because they're ecologically helping us protect everything. And with their dollars, we get more steel, we get more paint.
The tower gets much needed help, and you get 5 nights of this. But there's another way to get this. The raffle for restoration.
The tickets are just $10. Then they could win a weekend for 4 people flying out here by helicopter, donated, or by boat, scuba diving or deep sea fishing, a personal chef.
There's one more thing you can do to help.
If you want to participate, you don't have to give us money. It's just tell somebody. Just share it.
But if you do make it out here, and up the hoist and onto the helipad to see a million stars and experience all of the tower's past and present.
Like this.
You'll want to share it
I love it!
with everybody.
It's just so awesome. The restoration raffle started in January and continues until May. The grand prize is the trip for 4, but each month Neil is also giving away a day trip. We have a link to buy raffle tickets on our website and all of our Voyage to Frying Pan stories at WWAY TV3.com.